The Bunzerelly Show.
The superhero franchise could be traced back to the X-Men. In the year 2000 was the first movie in which superheroes are first fully realized on the big screen in a way that we could actually accept and believe them, where they discovered that we had, the technology was available and we had the CGI and the effects to make these things realistic. We could make people fly, we could make people have metal claws, and the game was changed. Prior to 2000, Marvel Comics, on the brink of bankruptcy, had sold off its movie rights, including Spider-Man to Sony, and we know how that story went, and the X-Men to Fox. And Fox really changed the game with 2000's X-Men, which was really, you have to give credit for breaking the mold in the way superhero movies are perceived now. And it was a groundbreaker, and what happened after that was, of course, Sony bought the Spider-Man rights from Marvel, and they released Spider-Man, which was also groundbreaking. And now Marvel, of course, has its MCU, which is dominant at the box office. But still, let's not forget, X-Men has had a strong and steady run. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, it's had its ups and downs, some slopes, and then, had a kind of a soft reboot with the First Class, with the new group of X-Men, and then Days of Future Past kind of went full circle to correct some of the timelines and everything. And now here we are. We had a little bit of a weak thing with X-Men Apocalypse. And I tell you the truth, I was kind of sleeping with everything coming out this summer, including Spider-Man and Avengers Endgame. I kind of really slept on this X-Men Dark Phoenix. And last night, as I was, just kind of chilling, just checking the internet, checking Twitter, the internet was all about this Dark Phoenix. It was all a buzz with this Dark Phoenix thing. And I was like, okay, am I missing something? Because I'll tell you the truth, the first two teasers were kind of sleepers. Now, maybe a lot of that was because of the poor reception of X-Men Last Stand, which was the first telling of this Phoenix saga. And a lot of this was just kind of like, the prior trailers were just showing us the characters and the scenarios and a little bit of witty dialogue, but nothing like this trailer we saw last night really showing the stakes. Apparently, right off the bat, they're hitting us with the apparent death of Mystique, played by Jennifer Lawrence. Now, a lot of the criticisms of the franchise have been kind of Jennifer Lawrence's kind of taking that forward role with a background character. And what I mean is, it's like, Mystique was supposed to be a secondary villain, and all of a sudden she kind of became the star center of this second run at the X-Men franchise. And a lot of that probably is because, when this the First Class was first released, Jennifer Lawrence was kind of young in her career, but now since she's, the Hunger Games and all that jazz, they kind of put her front and center and, milked her star power for the franchise, even in Last Stand, which was, I'm sorry, not Last Stand, Days of Future Past. Still my favorite X-Men movie so far. I'm sorry, not counting Logan, but she really took a front and center role. And I think we all kind of got tired of it in Apocalypse. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say that, it does two things, kind of. I'm not saying she's definitely dead, but they're really kind of throwing that in our faces like she's going to die, and I think it does two things. I think what it does is it's kind of like that little thing of okay, this isn't a Mystique central movie. You see something that apparently leads to her death, and the other thing is you don't see a lot of her in the trailer. So it looks like she's going to die. A lot of the stuff you're seeing is the power of the Phoenix, not like anything we saw in Last Stand. And Last Stand, and I'll tell you the truth, to be frank, I know of the Phoenix saga, but I wasn't really an avid reader during the time of the Phoenix saga, which was in the early 90s, first realized by Chris Claremont. I believe, I don't want to say Jim Lee, but it was definitely in the Chris Claremont, Jim Lee days. But I know Chris Claremont was a big writer behind it. Looks like we got a phone call. Caller, you're on the air with the Bunzerelly Show.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Joe? It's Bob.
Hey, Bob. What's going on, dude?
How you doing?
Good. Thanks for calling the show.
Yeah, I actually, I seen it was this episode. I just finished watching the X-Men trilogy with the younger cast because my daughter just got into it, so I just watched the whole trilogy like in the last few days with her. So it was like perfect timing for you to be doing this episode.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So which one's it? The
Dark Phoenix.
The one where it ends with yeah. And X-Men Apocalypse was the last one we just watched. And I just watched the trailer for Dark Phoenix. And this is going to sound stupid, but I, for some reason, didn't think all the other X-Men were going to be in it. Like, the first teaser just showed her. I thought it was just going to be, like, her own little, like, side quest or something.
Yeah, the first teaser was just kind of like, you know what I think it was? I think it was kind of like a teaser to what was going on. And then it was like, they just kind of showed the characters and kind of went through the checklist and showed a lot of dialogue. Probably because a lot of the effects weren't developed. But this last trailer was freaking nuts. I mean, freaking crazy. And they're digging it a lot into the outer space stuff. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing in outer space, but they're kind of like, you know, because the X-Men, you can't have them, you know, some stuff is tough to touch, like outer space and aliens and things like that. Marvel has built a strong structure to do things like that. But this is kind of neat. They're kind of, because the X-Men franchise is so old, they're able to kind of step outside the bounds. This one really showed, like, the power she has, the sheer power. And there's a character in there that I thought was the White Queen. And
yes. Yeah, I seen the white-haired girl, and it was an actress I've seen in something else.
It's Jessica Chastain. She's playing this character called Smith, okay? Now, I have a weird theory about her. The only thing I ever see her doing in any parts of the trailer is talking to Jean Grey, okay? So I got a weird theory, and I'm going to put it out on the internet right now. And then we can just mark it down and see if I'm right. Because I've had some bad theories. But, like my Venom theory, that was a complete flop. But here's what I'm thinking. I think that she's a manifestation of the Phoenix. Okay?
Huh.
I think it's a Fight Club thing going on. Because every scene I see her in, she's only talking to Jean. I don't see her interacting with anybody else. And even in the new movie poster they just released, they show, like, Jean in the center. Have you seen that movie poster that was released?
The one where she's in the center and it's got, like, the X behind her with the...
She's like half Phoenix, half Jean Grey. But then at the bottom of the screen is just a real subtle silhouette of this Smith character. And for some reason... Because who is she? I thought she was the White Queen for some reason. I looked it up. It's like, did they bring back the White Queen from First Class to kind of bring it full circle? But no, all she does is talk to Jean, which is making me think that I think she's the Phoenix. I'm going to call it now. I think it's Jean talking. I think it's a Fight Club thing going on. Yeah,
I could see it, because as powerful as Phoenix is, I could see like something like that happening. The Mystique thing being so prominent in the first ones kind of annoyed me, because it seemed like at the time that was right when
Jennifer Lawrence.
What's it? Yeah, right when she was hot because of the Hunger Games movies.
Yeah.
So at the time, it kind of annoyed me, and it was cool to watch it a second time where I was over it.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy it a lot more than I did the first time. So I was happy to see her back at it, and even like Cyclops, like my daughter pointed out, we're watching the other one. She's like, "Oh, how come they aren't doing anything yet?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, well, because I guess it's because it was the beginning. It was mostly like Magneto and Charles Xavier. The story was mostly around them, you know."
Yeah, and it seemed like an Apocalypse, they're all running behind Mystique. Like Mystique's like, "Hey, follow us." Yeah, I don't say it.
Yeah, exactly. So to see them all like in action, you know what I mean? And then it's funny, too, because when I watched Days of Future Past, where it was both of them, and, you know, at first it was like you're used to the older cast, and then you're like, the new ones, you're like, I don't know about these guys. And then, like, I was watching that one, I'm like, I don't know, I think I'm kind of pulling for the the younger ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be nice to see them, and it looks like, I don't know, it's got a nice, like, tone to it. You know what I mean? Like, it looks like it's got a nice tone to it, if that makes any sense. I don't know.
Yeah, it's dark. I mean, it's dark, it's progressive, like she's like definitely the threat. And now here's the interesting thing, because they did a lot of reshoots to this movie, okay? And I'm thinking, because of like the tenure of like people's contracts and stuff, this might be it for this cast. But the other thing going on is Disney's purchase of Fox is kind of rounding up in March. It's supposed to end in March.
Really?
So I'm very curious to see, because there have been a lot of rewrites and reshoots done. It's always wishful thinking. I wonder if they're setting up for a reboot and they're going to just kind of wipe everybody out in this movie, or are they going to kind of leave us somewhere? Like, what if the plan's already been put into motion because of the universal ramifications of the Phoenix? It's a long stretch, but I'm very curious to see if anybody from this cast makes it into the MCU. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we know that Phoenix is definitely capable of killing everybody.
Yes. No, she's looking fierce. Like, she is badass. Now, here's something interesting that I'm gathering from the trailers, too, because they're touching upon this power kind of being in her, like as being a child. You know how you see the cars flipping stuff when she's a kid? But then they're also touching into the outer space stuff. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of like, it's like a chicken and the egg thing kind of going on. Did it start with her, and then this thing she finds in outer space was looking for or seeking her out? It's very, very interesting. Yeah, because if you look at, like, Apocalypse, they were kind of, like, hinting towards it was going to happen. So, you know, it's just very curious. Like, you know, they showed a flash of the Phoenix power. So it's, like I said, it's a chicken and the egg kind of thing.
Yeah, I just watched the other, just put it on the end of the that other trailer. I see the train thing. That is awesome.
Yeah. And they show a little tiny line of her setting down. And I think a lot of fandom was like, are they going to show the big Phoenix costume? Which personally I don't give a about, but, you know, everybody's like, oh, I want to see the original Phoenix costume, you know, the green and yellow one. But
yeah, you know, it's funny. It never with any of them. Like, that was the big thing, like the little joke when anytime they would get in a plane, like, they'd have to put on the suits and they'd show the X-Men suits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, for whatever reason, it was never a huge deal for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At the end of, Apocalypse, they're like, hey, everybody in their exact comic book costumes. And like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Like,
well, you know what?
Yeah, okay.
It would have been cool. Like I said, you know, you make a good point, because, like, that whole cast just took a back seat to everything going on in that movie. Like, X-Men Apocalypse, all those X-Men that were introduced just kind of fell by the wayside.
Yeah, and I didn't catch it until my daughter said it. And she's like, why are they not doing anything? And I'm like, yeah, they aren't doing anything.
They're all standing and waiting, and they're all, like, just standing around watching Wolverine, and they're just...
Yeah, so because of that, I could see them doing more, because it'd be so much different for the next ones. You know, it's not like we're burnt out on them, because we haven't really seen that much of them. Like, the whole beginning, it was Magneto and Charles and their relationship and everything, which was good, which was fine. But okay, that's done. We get it. You know, they could fully just go with them, just action. Like, how much did you really see Cyclops shooting people in the last 3?
Yeah.
Not much. So
no,
to
nothing.
see him suited up in this trailer and doing stuff, like, actually, when I first seen him, I don't know if it's because the kid got older or whatever, but I thought it was a different actor at first. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just didn't, I wasn't sure if it was him. Then I seen him, like, oh, okay, so they're all starting to, all right, cool.
But it also might be like just a little plot, like they've come along, because it's kind of shifting into decades. So it's supposed to be a little later, and these X-Men have kind of developed. So hopefully they all get to, like, step into the forefront as characters. Bob, we're almost out of time here, but hey, thanks for your call. And
yeah, buddy.
Yeah, definitely a lot of stuff. This movie comes out in, I believe, June, so definitely some cool things to look at. And we'll see how things go, and how, if it all folds into, like, Disney's purchase of Fox and everything. So we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.